Hey guys, welcome to my new video. In this video, we will be learning about two most important concepts in Next.js. One is layouts and another one is templates. Layout and templates are similar concept and there is a lot of confusing that is happening. If you look into the Next.js document itself, the layout and templates are added on the same part of the documentation and they pretty much work similarly, but there is one key difference between layouts and templates, and you should know when you should use layouts and when you should use templates and what is the main difference between them. So in this video I will be showing you how you can add a layout into your application. We will be creating an application which will use both layouts and templates in order to create a header, and we have multiple page. You can navigate into other page without having to share that component. And if you see, I can go into profile page, I will be on the profile page, I will be on settings, and I can go into the dashboard. This is coming from the layout page and it is not adding component and component into multiple pages. So I'm excited for this tutorial. Let's get started. Moving further into the tutorial, we will need to create an Next.js project. So basically I have created a Next.js project using Next.js app latest. What I have done is I have run this CLI command and I created a basic app router in the Next.js, and inside the app router I have cleaned up the project by a bit. I have just rendered the page, and inside the page I have added a dashboard folder. So basically I have added two routes. One is dashboard, another one is profile, and another one is settings. In dashboard you can see that it is just rendering you are in dashboard. In profile it is the same, you are in profile page, and in settings page you are in settings page. So if I go into my folder for this, run this application in localhost, you will see that initially I'm rendered with this page. And if I go to dashboard, I'm shown this component which is being served from the page.tsx. And if I go to, let's say, dashboard slash profile, I'm showing with profile and then in settings. So this is how I created a basic folder structure for Next.js. To learn about layouts, let's go to the Next.js documentation. I'm inside Next.js documentation in layouts section. It has a perfect definition for layout. A layout is a UI component that is shared between multiple pages, and on navigation, layout preserves state and remain interactive and do not re-render. Layout can also be nexted. So basically, layout is a React component which takes the children's and it render the children. You can add other component to it to render to that particular page. So if you look into this example, you will see that dashboard layout is taking, it is inside the dashboard layout.js file, and it is taking the section and it is checking the children from the nested routes, and it is having a section component, and then it also have a navbar component. You can add either header or sidebar and it is displaying children inside of it. By default, Next.js provides a layout.tsx file. When you create a Next.js project, in this layout.tsx file, you will see that we also have a root layout, which is taking children and it is rendering that children. By default, Next.js recommends us to use HTML and body tag to render this children at top level and do not reuse this layout folder. And let's say we want to add a new layout in our project. What we can do is we can go inside any of the folder and we can add a new file called layout.tsx. So if I create layout.tsx, I can go into the Next.js documentation. Let's say I want to copy this and I pasted this, and then I just save this for once. You can see the error message is gone, and now I am having this UI. How I can see that this is being rendered inside that particular layout and that has been used. Let's say I remove this, I added a p tag saying that this is header section and save it. You will see the p tag, which is part of this layout.tsx, is being rendered in the dashboard, and it is also seen on all the subsequent and under routes after this particular layout. So let's say I go to settings, it is also shown on the settings page and also on the profile page. So that is how you can create a basic layout in Next.js. You need to just create a layout.tsx file inside any folder that you want to create, and then you can have that layout. You can also create a sub layout inside a layout. So basically, if you see, this is our root layout, this is our dashboard layout. If I copy this, I can go into profile page and I can create a new folder called layout.tsx. And if I pasted it, let's say I rename it to profile layout, and let's say I update it to profile section. If I save it, what you will see is our nested layout, which is inside the profile layout, is being wrapped by our dashboard layout, which is in the dashboard folder, and then overall layout is being wrapped by this. So let's say I added a new p tag here saying this is from root layout, and if I save it, you will see root layout is showing at the top, and then as children the other layout are being passed, which is this header layout in the dashboard, and then profile layout is passed on the profile section page. So that is the concept of layouts and nested layouts in Next.js. Now that we understand the concept of layouts and nested layouts, we need to understand how we practically use the layout in production application. So let's say we have a page like I showed earlier, dashboard page, and then profile, and then settings. Let's say we want to add a header in the dashboard page. I have created a header component. It is just a basic React component with some CSS applied to it. If I go into the component, if I uncomment this code and I save it, what you will see that I have this header in the dashboard, and I can go to profile page and I can go to settings page. But one thing that you have noticed is the header is not provided or available in the profile or settings page, but it is only available into dashboard. What we can do is we can just, like we did here, we can go into the page.tsx. I can import that header in a similar concept, so I can just copy this and just paste it, and then make it profile, import header from header, save it. I will see that I have it in the profile page, and if I go here, if I just save this and then import the header and I can update it to settings page, I will see that I have this headers in dashboard, profile, and then settings. So now let's see, what I need to do is I need to change something. So let's say I want to update it to dashboard updated. You'll see that it is being updated on the dashboard page, but if I go to, let's say I updated it in the settings dot header, it is updated into the dashboard page but not in the profile and settings. Why it is so is we are copying the code again and again in all the pages, and it is not recommendable. So how we can just remove the code from all the places and make it like a layout? What we can do is we can create a layout folder in the dashboard, and what I can do is I can go into the Next.js layout documentation. If I go here, I can go into Next.js, search for layouts, and if I copy the example that they have given and I pasted it here and save it, you will see that as of now nothing changes. I'm still importing it from other pages. What I can do is, instead of having the header in each of the page like dashboard and settings and all that stuff, what I can do is I can copy this header and then paste it into the layout page. And if I just import it from the headers, what you will see is if I go to the dashboard, profile and settings, you will see that I have two header now, because what I'm doing is having that header in the page also. I can do is I can remove it and then save it. You will see that the dashboard is, the one header is removed from the dashboard, but it still exists on profile. So we can do this, and then we can do this again. And if I save it, you will see that I don't have to pass code on all the pages moving forward, but I can still have this UI being persisted across all the pages. So I have dashboard, profile and settings. So this is how you can add a layout in your practical Next.js application and then use it properly. Now that we have understood and implemented the concept of layout in Next.js and we have created this application, there is one essential topic that we, or concept that we need to understand about layout is Next.js do not re-render the layout whenever you are navigating from one page to another page. What I mean by that is, if I go into the Next.js documentation, you will see that there is mentioned on the top level itself is, on navigation, layout preserve states, remain interactive, and do not re-render. What do you mean by do not re-render is, you don't essentially run the use effect again. So let's test it out. So let's say I'm in layout.tsx and let's say I want to add a use effect in here. So I can just add a use effect and then add it here without anything. And if I'm using use effect, I need to make this as a client component. And let's say I am doing a console here saying that page visited, and then if I just save it, if I go here, if I inspect it, and if I go to console, you will see that if I refresh this page, let's say I'm on dashboard, if I refresh this page, the page visitor is shown, which is fine because I have doing the use effect here. But if I go to the profile page, you will see that the page visitor is not running. And if I go to the settings page, similarly, the page visitor is not running. Why it is so is, React usually do not re-render the layout component, or Next.js do not re-render the layout component whenever you are navigating from one page to another page. So if you have something inside the use effect, it does not re-render, it is just showing as it is. So you cannot even have access to it on all the pages, which is expected, because currently, if I, let's say I call an API, so let's say I made a call to made call to API for page visit count. If I save it and I go to, let's say, dashboard page, you will see that it will make one call to API. And even if user is navigating to profile or they are navigating to settings, it is not making that API call to for the page visit count at all. So by default, there is only one page visit happening on my system in the backend, because that is what Next.js is giving us. We can we can do this, we can implement this functionality if I copy this use effect in every pages. So let's say I copy it on profile page and then also make it client, and then again copy it on page settings page, and similarly make it as a use client. And you will see that now if I go to profile page, it will make that API call into the settings page, it will make that API call. But this is definitely not the recommended method. Just imagine you having an application with hundreds of pages and you need to copy this in each and every page just for this analytics functionality. So that is the major concept that we have in layout, which is lacking, which is like, it is good for the optimization of the overall system, but sometimes it is not useful. So now that we understood what is layout and why do not layout re-render and what are its limitation, we will have a different concept in Next.js which is called templates. Templates are similar to layouts in which they wrap each children layout or pages. Unlike layouts that are persisted across routes and maintain state, templates creates a new instance for each of the children on navigation. So what is the importance of it? It's, let's say, in the previous part where I showed you that if a use effect is reliant on and is added on the layout component, it is not re-rendered. So if you go here, you will see that it is only making one call, even if I imported it on top level use effect and not running it. Ideally, if I go to profile page, it should have rerun again, and if I go to settings page, it should have rerun again. So that is where template comes handy. The templates and layout is very similar, and we can just easily convert any layout to template and vice versa. So let's say we have this project itself. If we want to, now it is on layout which is not matching our functionality. If I want to convert it to a template, what I can do is I can simply rename this to template.tsx, and I update import, and I don't need to do anything, and I just save it. If I go here, you will see that now the error is gone. Now if I go to, let's say, dashboard page, you will see that the use effect is running again. If I go to profile page, the use effect is running again. If I go to settings page, the use effect is running again. So that this is the major difference between templates and layouts. The templates is very similar to layout, in which you will have a children, you will take the React node as a children and render that children. So it is also a higher level component. But the major difference between templates and layouts is layouts do not re-render itself on every page visit and do not re-render its children, but templates re-renders its children. So when you should use layout and when you should use template is, if you have a component in the layout which might be dependent on use effect or which might change frequently, you should consider using templates. But if you have a fixed component, let's say you have a header which have fixed item, you have a sidebar which have fixed item, nothing changes in state or whatsoever, and if you have a footer which is nothing changing into states or whatsoever, you need to use layout. But if you have something like component which depends on use effect and you are fetching data from somewhere and you are doing some interaction, we will consider using the templates onto it. There are, even though layouts have less performance issues, but templates is sometimes use case friendly whenever you need it. So now you understood what is the major difference between them. To wrap up this video, now that we have learned about layouts and concept and what is the major difference between layouts and templates and Next.js, what I would recommend is we should stick with layout as much as possible, because layouts are the recommended way of Next.js, and that is why it is also used in root layouts, and it has good performance factor in Next.js. So ideally you should stick with layout as much as possible, but if layout is not having that functionality where you need to instantiate a new state, or you need to call a use effect function and you need to call use effect hook, you can use the templates, or you can both combine and use the layout and template. Layout for generally non-changing or non-state using simple component, templates if you require any use effect or use state to be run properly. Hope you like this tutorial. If you like this tutorial, feel free to like, subscribe and follow us. I will be posting similar tutorial to give you a more understanding of web development and Next.js in general. Thank you for watching the video.